So, in the latest news of censorship today, Criminal Girls 2, a game made by NIS, the developers of Mugen, Souls, and Disgaea, is unfortunately gonna be censored. In a blog post, the developers kept continuously put the blame on the ESRB, and the threats that the game is gonna be rated adult only. They even addressed the issue of having other games that are worse than this, but they say, we tried guys, we tried. Well, here's the thing, NIS America. This is never gonna be the ESRB's fault. This is always gonna be your fault. This is actually your decision to censor your games. Why? Because at this very moment, the ESRB is being held by the same CEO who helmed the development of the most controversial video game ever made. Do you want to know the result of that? Wanchanbara Z2 released in this state. Senran Gakura, a Kunoichi Fest game with underage children, is also released in this state. How about this game published by Atlas called Stella Glow that got a T rating? There are also other games with questionable content being rated T like Skullgirls, Guilty Gear, Toukiden Kiwami, Hyperdimension Neptunia. How about explicitly mature games like The Witcher or GTA 5? How about MangaGamer that releases a game on Steam that contains very explicit sex and is rated M? Now, why is something like this happening? Well, throughout the course of 2016, gamers began to ask this question with hashtag torrential downpour. But there is something more sinister than just the mere act of them censoring these games. Do you want to know what it is? Well, that's because the video game industry has been treating us like creepy perverts, as in 50% of population of America are creepy perverts. Based on the last video, from what I can gather, most of the censorship excuses have been repeatedly debunked, with the only reason left is to please the kind of people who are triggered by the things that are censored. And now, I have debunked that it's not because of ESRB, because ESRB has given pass towards a hell of a lot more explicit games. So practically, there's no reason for censorship right now other than to please social justice warriors. Honestly, I don't get it. With torrential downpour and many other gamers protesting about this kind of censorship, why aren't the industry listening to us? Or a more important question is, are they really listening to us?
There's a beat outside my window. He's been there for days. And now it's only gotten on to Sunday, and I think it's time to play. 'Cause there is...
Let's begin with basic economics. In basic economics, you have the consumers, distributors, and producers. They all need to work together in unison in order to make everybody happy. However, in the gaming realms, there's a rather disturbing trend, and it's something that I want the game developers to know about. First off, you have the mainstream game journalists who are supposed to be the bridge between consumers and game developers. Now, at this moment, we're not really sure if we should put these journalists in the category of consumers or distributors, because they're not really advocating for the consumers because they have shown to have blatantly attacked the consumers with tons and tons of articles. You will never see a trend like this. You'll never see movie critics go and attack their audience and say, moviegoers are dead. Except if you're Ghostbusters 2016, which in that case, it's okay. Why would these self-proclaimed advocates attack the people that they're advocating? The answer is actually a hell of a lot simpler than you guys might think, and it's quite evident based on the data that I found. It's because the industry does not respect us. If the three-parters theme is toxic videos that I provide couldn't convince you enough, a great article from SuperNerdLand perfectly describes what's going on with the gaming industry and the attitude between the industry itself towards the consumers. Gaming has been alternatively portrayed as a waste of time, children's toys, and even training tools for mass murderers, or they hard-code misogyny. Equally, the gaming community has been portrayed as infantilized, socially inept, and unable to differentiate reality from fantasy. And again, perfectly described by this article, the gaming community has suffered from the many types of people who say that this gaming medium needs to grow up, and the only way for them to grow up is to stop playing the kind of games that are immature and play video games that are mature. First off, who gets the right to say what video games are mature or not? Second, the reason why I consider video games as art is because they can express many types of emotions, including maturity and immaturity. In every medium ever, we all have works that are mature and immature, and that's fine. That doesn't mean the entire gaming community or the entire games library are immature. Here's how I'm gonna put it. Knowing that half of Americans play video games, the most realistic observation is that both mature and immature gamers exist. I know that I'm just speculating here, but I believe that half of them are mature gamers that can properly articulate legitimate critiques, and half of them are definitely immature gamers that just don't care and want to troll stuff up. Again, these numbers are just my speculations. The number of immature gamers are big, but well, so are the mature ones. Let's just say that this accurately represents the reality of the situation. Who will the industry listen to? Nobody. Because I don't think the industry even listens. We're gonna take a look at a few examples in which gamers unite and revolt against bad business practices and how the industry just refuses to listen. Let's go back to 2012 where the Mass Effect 3 ending controversy began. Gamers have complained about the horrible endings of EA's latest space opera RPG to the point of raising a charity drive before it was shut down due to corporate politics. We all know how massively horrible the original Mass Effect 3 endings are, but there's something that you guys might not even believe. There are articles that attack the gamers for this very reason. I shit you not. This is way back before Gamergate. IGN made a video about gamer entitlement on the Mass Effect 3 ending, while at the same time having a fucking advertisement campaign for the respective game. The Mass Effect 3 endings were horrible, and gamers have the right to complain about it because they're the ones who are actually paying for the fucking game in the first place, and yet game journalists revolt against them. Why? These are all legitimate complaints. The endings do suck. You guys completely break your original promise. You guys are defending this because you want to shill out for these companies because they pay you, I guess. And you know what happens after gamers revolt? Extended Cut DLC, which leads to the Happy Ending mod. And then there's Error 37. The always online DRM of Diablo 3 has caused the severe damage to people's enjoyment towards them. You know what happens right after that? You can't log in and you shouldn't care. Gamer entitlement strikes again. Diablo 3's always online requirement makes it a better game. Yep, that's right. Instead of being consumer advocates, the game journalists revolt and shill. And of course, the last article even has the opinion piece right next to the promotional materials of said game. You fucking corporate shills. You know what happens right after that? Reaper of Souls, which from what I've heard fixes pretty much almost everything. Just be glad that those two events have the game developers at least try to fix the stuff that they messed up. How about the things that they didn't fix? BioWare strikes again. Enter Dragon Age 2. They apply draconian laws to the forums and moderate every dissenting opinions, and believe it or not, they frame criticisms as misogynist attacks to the writers. Because of course it's misogynist attacks. Of course it's misogynist attacks. One article was written by Jim fucking Sterling of all people, and it's no surprise the amount of backlash it got knowing that Dragon Age 2, a story-rich video game, is written by someone who doesn't even like to play video games. What am I supposed to say about that? Now, let's get into video game censorships. Fire Emblem Fates has the most god-awful translations that you can think of, and it's not helped by the disgusting revelations that some of the translators cannot speak proper Japanese. It's made even worse when said translator is openly trying to spread ideology, and another translator went off to slander genuinely good video game developers. Tokyo Mirage SSFE was developed by Atlus, but it has Fire Emblem elements to it, and therefore Nintendo has the right to judge whether or not the game should be censored. Why? Because of regulations and requirements. Censor the game, blah de blah de blah. How about Street Fighter V? That censorship from Rainbow Mika has the most immature depiction of playground shift blaming I have ever seen. Yoshinari Ono blames the special snowflakes, ESRB blames Capcom, and Capcom blames ESRB. It's an incredibly immature playground shift blaming with absolutely nobody willing to take any responsibility in order to maintain their PR, because that's what a lot of successful people do.
I gotta blame somebody, otherwise it's all my fault. Fuck that.
You see, all of these game companies trying to stay on their hotbox are cancerous in the video gaming realms. Time and time again, we soon find out that it's not that we're not loud enough, it's not that we're too immature in handling these things, it's not that we're unable to handle proper critiques, it's not that we're horrendously awful people, it's just that these game developers and publishers project themselves. They're loud enough to get a lot of reach. They are way too immature in handling these things. They're unable to handle proper critiques. They're horrendously awful people, and they decide that it would be best to close their eyes and ears off. Now, does this happen to all video game developers? Of course not. Apply Sturgeon's law just in case you lose faith. At this moment, the best thing that we can do as a consumer in order to make the developers to listen to what we have to say is to not spend a single dime on any of their bad products. Word of mouth spreads faster than Ebola. The internet is rife with videos and information and reviews and dissenting opinions. You will be informed that a certain product is gonna be bad, and by the time you do, just remember to always vote with your wallet, because at this very moment, that's the only thing that game devs really care about.
I hate all these damn rich people.
That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.